Matt George tweets, "My coming out story. I texted the family group chat that I'm gay while I was blacked out, got ignored by everyone, and then watched as every single person responded when my sister sent a picture of the enchiladas she made 4 hours later."
Well, it's probably because everyone in that family went, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
No, you wanted to be the only male cheerleader in our 1,000-person town. No, we had no idea.
And I know they weren't asleep because it was like 11 a.m.
You're like, ooh, enchiladas. In one of my fucking family group texts, it was like, someone sent in a picture of like, oh, having fun on the boat, and someone was piloting, and then it was like the grandmother. Uncle Bob just passed away. Looks fun! Exclamation point.
Oh my god.
Like, what the fuck?
Fucking love parents.
Dude, when you get old, things just get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when you get 70 plus, your relationship with death is much more cordial and loose.
I don't remember if it was something I read or if it was like an anecdote you told me, but someone sat down with like their parents and they were like, I want to know why you guys text the way you do. Right? Because, like, if we're excited, we put an exclamation mark in a text message. Like, I can't wait. You know? But parents are always like, I can't wait, period. And it makes you think they're being insincere. And it's apparently because when they went to school back in the Stone Ages,
right.
Teachers would, like, beat them if they used an exclamation point in everyday speech.
Huh.
In writing.
Right. Well, it's probably because, when you had to, ride on your, your Fred Flintstone's car, the exclamation point, it was actually like a beacon to all the pterodactyls to come down and swoop up the children, so they would beat it out of there. No exclamation points, but the pterodactyls would get you. Anyway, turn to page Gronk. We're doing math problems.
We don't have numbers yet. It's...
right. And then the class goes...
Anyway, well, thank you for tuning in to Two Roommates with the podcast. We riffed for long enough that I think it's about time we drop it in. My name's Kirk. My pronouns are they and them.
My name's Brent. My pronouns are he and him. Oh my goodness, you did the intro.
Holy shit. Intro.
What am I even here for? You get the intro, you get the cold open.
I get the intro, I get the sound waves, cold open.
You get the self-ref saying we've been riffing, and you talk about how we're riffing right now. Everything we're doing now is happening now. The Bears just signed Andy goddamn Dalton.
Yes.
Holy shit. We're starting off with some sports ball talk. That's horrible. It's just, oh my God.
We're getting to the roots of the podcast right now, though. When I was in the car and I said, Brent, we should make like a sports podcast.
What?
Yeah, we picked up tacos. We were listening to the sports people on the AM radio talking. And I brought it up because like they were just sitting around having a good time.
That'd be a horrible idea. No, so the reason why it's bad is that the Bears, bless their hearts, they're trying to go for a dark horse to be the stupidest and worst franchise in all of football. And why Andy Dalton isn't good is because he's exactly like every quarterback we've ever had for 30 years, which is sad, pathetic, and, gives you nothing.
But isn't he, on that list you shared, isn't he, like, ranked right above Trubisky?
Oh, yeah.
And we're moving up.
Right. So in career passer rating for the active quarterbacks, at, like, the number 22 spot goes Andy Dalton, and then Mitch Trubisky, and then Nick Foles, all in a line. And it's like, that's perfect, because that's the exact level of competency we have, which is below mediocre. we are below mediocre talent.
I mean, there were only 25 names on that list.
Right. So we could have, there are rumors you're going to trade for Russell Wilson, who's a much better quarterback in Seattle. That fell through. Trade for Deshaun Watson. He's unhappy. Okay, that fell through. Okay, well, you could get Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's kind of fun. He has a huge beard. He looks crazy. Oh, he signed somewhere else. Okay. You could get Jameis Winston. At least he throws the ball hard. No, you get Okay, you get the redhead who can't throw 20 yards downfield and he can't do it accurately. Oh, cool. So what are we going to do this? Oh, nothing? Oh, we're going to do nothing. Oh, I thought we were going to do something. Oh, I'm an asshole. I thought we were going to do something.
Offense is overrated.
And so is defense and special teams, coaching, front office, ownership, the stadium, the city, me, you, everything. Everything's overrated. There was a fucking... this was my favorite. There was a press conference at the end of the season, and it was our general manager and our head coach just talking so much about how they felt like they worked together and they had such good communication and teamwork and they really feel they were going places. And our sports radio around here is actually not like horrible. They're not full of chuds. As far as like radio goes, they actually seem to be like kind of progressive, which is nice. So, and because some like New York stations, like it's not a dog whistle, it's more like a bullhorn of racism. But we don't quite have that, so that's okay. But so when they were talking about teamwork shit, but it's like, boy, I wish there was a way you could measure the success of your team in sports. Some way where you could say, oh, this team won and this team lost. But we just don't have that. So instead, we're really good at teamwork. We're really good at that. Wins and losses, that's, when you put, like, that puts pressure on people. That doesn't validate people. You don't see and hear people when you talk about winning in sports.
Hey, see and hear is actually, comes from a long history of being directed.
Yeah, quit stealing my jokes. No, so that was complete garbage. Oh yeah, and then one of the sports guys was like, okay, we're going to have one of our analysis on to talk about the Andy Dalton signing. And he's going to try to be all positive and say how it's not actually good. And really, if we just calm down, and he's like, he's not even on it. I'm already arguing with him. I'm so mad. Mm-hmm. And it was like every Chicago guy calling on, Andy Dalton is going to be the worst thing that would ever come to Chicago. It is going to be absolute garbage. I cannot believe I follow this franchise. And you can hear the Italian beef pouring out of their mouths. And every man's named Bob. Every one of those motherfuckers is named Bab, calling from the South Side to talk about the Bears. That's every...
Bear. Oh, yeah.
Bear. Yeah, the Bears. It's not Da Bears.
You said Bears, but I heard Cubs.
Well, they're very similar. Very similar, both levels of sad. The Bears are the mature version. More sadness, where there it's all sad. It's not a good sign when the best team in the city are the White Sox. That's not where you want to be.
Well, I have no stake in the Andy Dalton game, but I did see a tweet that I wanted to read to you. Let me position my glasses down on the end of my nose.
like a father with the bifocals. Hang on.
I think that Andy Dalton is the best quarterback in the entire world. John Boyce.
He's the best tweeter.
He's the best at...
he's the best one.
Oh my god. I do like the irony posting. But John Boyce is better than that because, irony posting is, like you said once, it's a little overdone. But everyone gets it, but John's just like...
He cuts through. He figured out his segment. Oh, yeah. And the best thing is, so last season, Andy Dalton was a free agent where we could have signed him for, $6 million. But instead what we did was traded for Nick Foles, gave away a draft pick, took on a 3-year contract, only for that not to work out, and then we gave Andy Dalton more money than we could have just last season. So we did the wrong thing, we did another wrong thing, and now we triple wronged on him. And a monkey pointing at a computer could make better decisions, because some of the time they'd be right. Some of the time the monkey would accidentally make a right decision. Yeah. And the Bears are incapable of making an accidental right decision. I hate them so good. And it doesn't matter, because I'm going to watch them, because I'm cucked. I'm a Bears fan. I mean, come on, look at me. I'm a cuck. That's a given. And I'm going to watch them. I'm going to hate every goddamn second of it. But probably if it goes the way I think it's going to go, probably about 5 weeks into it, I'll give up. But that means I still would have watched for over a month, which means they won. Well, that's the only kind of winning they can do, is when they fuck their fans. Lord knows they can't beat a football team.
Brent, I only ever seen you watch every Bears game.
No, because last season
you're right.
could have been okay. This season, somehow going into this season's more bleak. It just doesn't.
You were already disappointed.
Just keep making. It's just. Hey, on the bright side, we re-signed our punter. Boom! Off-season winner. We got the white guys. We got white. No. Our kicker's Hispanic. Good. No, that was a theory that Ryan Pace drafted Mitch Trubisky because he's white, which I don't believe in. Like, he honestly. See, the problem is that when he drafted Mitch Trubisky, it's either because he's a racist, or he drafted him because he thought he'd be better. I don't know which of those is worse. Because either he's a racist or he's a moron.
Either
he's a racist
fail
moron.
at your job because of your ingrained biases, or you're racist.
That's not good. So anyway, shout out to them.
I'm very sorry about your team.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's only sports. It literally doesn't matter. Other than it's like in COVID, when like sports first shut down, and basically they're like that period between like March and July where there basically wasn't sports. That's when I realized, like, I think someone called it kind of like just like, I think they called it a topology of life or something, like a topographical, where it just provides like little bumps and curves. Like, it's a little bit of drama, maybe somebody does something really interesting, like, they jump over a wall to catch a ball, and you go, well, that was like, really interesting. Or this guy does this feat, and he starts tearing up on the mound because he accomplished something. And it's like little human elements or emotions, just like, little everyday stuff, and it gives you something to pay attention to. And also, like, in America, like, there isn't too many actual meritocracies left, where if you are legitimately good at something, you will get rewarded for it. And granted, obviously, if you're richer, you have better access to trainers, opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But, like, legitimately, if you're, like, really good at shooting threes, like, you just need a ball and to go to a park. And if you're really good at it, you could make it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not necessarily, you could be like a really great artist, but there's not a lot of money in that. Or there's not a lot of opportunities in that. So I think that's a part of it too. On top of like the human or like just appreciation of athletic feats, there's something higher to that, I think.
I think the thing about sports versus artists is when you play sports, they acknowledge what you're doing, because it's like, it's there, and if you don't capitalize on this moment, it doesn't persist. But with art, you continue making art, you do it every day of your life for the bleak 23 years of your existence
Jesus.
until you either die of cancer or kill yourself.
Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
And then 50 years after you die, someone goes, oh, hey, this painting's actually pretty nice. Bam, sells for $25 million. Bam, all the rest of your work sell for $25 million a piece.
And some guy was like, boy, I made a hefty little profit here.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
Where is he? Oh, he died. He killed himself right before he knew he had cancer. It was very ironic. He was probably going to kill himself after he knew he had cancer, but...
Can you imagine if sports was the same thing? You go to the court every day, you throw three-pointers day in, day out, recording yourself. No one acknowledges it until you die at the age of 39. And then 50 years later, they go, ooh, he's a good get for my fantasy team.
Where is he? Oh, he's dead on center court. Oh, okay.
Yeah, drank himself to death.
Well, someone draft me. I've hit every three. I've hit 100 in a row. Somebody draft me. He gets his shot blocked, and he cuts off his ear.
Christ. Oh my god. Toxic masculinity, fucking Van Gogh is canceled.
Yeah. If he had dealt with his feelings instead of this masculine rage overtaking, he could still be alive to this day. Something that's kind of related to sports is I've been getting into like speedrunning video games a little bit, but more specifically watching people do it, because doing stuff is hard. This guy named Simply, so in Super Mario 64, you can 100% the game by collecting like 120 stars. And so there's a speed run for it where you try to collect all the stars as quickly as possible and beat the game. And he used to have the world record, and then somebody else got it, and now he's like playing every day for a month to try to get it back. And I noticed it's a little bit like the thing that sports scratches with, like, and a human accomplishment and the emotion of someone like going through the thralls of it to try to overcome like whatever obstacle they're going through. The speedrunning's kind of hitting that, except it's more personal because it's just a guy on camera and he keeps saying poggers a lot, and I think it's also making me younger because I'm having to learn the youngsters terminology. You get a lot of poggers. Terminology. Yeah.
They say it like that.
Terminology. Yeah. So yeah, and he today he was at like the 115th star, and he was ahead of the world record by a number of seconds. But something went wrong and he missed it, so his run was basically over. And he's had a lot of that recently, where he gets in very close, and at the end something goes wrong, or he missteps, and basically your hour and 30 minutes of work basically just goes away. But he just does another run, and I don't even know exactly what it's scratching, but it's doing something for me.
Yeah.
And I think he is going to get it, but it's, a little bit like golf in the way where it's just you and the game, and whatever you do or the mistakes you make or your successes, it's just based on your own mistakes or however good you are. There's not like another team. No one's doing something better than you. It's just you. You, an N64, and 120 stars in about an hour and 40 minutes.
You playing a round of golf in the Scottish Highlands, and you hit your ball right in the creek, which has like 5-foot stone embankment, and you just you get down in there and you go,
I can hit my way out if I go.
Well, that was a good episode of Losers. Losers is a good show.
Yeah.
Shame there's only been one season.
Would you want to describe the show?
Yeah, so the show Losers is, they kind of find...
A show on Netflix?
A show on Netflix. Okay. I don't remember where it's at. On Netflix, apparently. and the general premise is, every sport has winners. And we love the winners. That's why we watch sports, But also for, every winner, there's also usually someone who loses.
An equal and opposite.
An equal and opposite. So what they do is they find stories of people losing that are just, good stories. And then they kind of cover it. And there's cute little animated segments, and they interview people. And a couple of the good episodes there was a basketball guy who ended up playing for the Harlem Globetrotters, talking about how he got to that team. There's a story about a guy who ran the marathon in the Sahara where he got lost. And then had to drink bat's blood.
No, so that one, right. So it was a marathon through the Sahara Desert, and at one point he got off track because a giant sandstorm kicked up because you're in the Sahara, and the signs got covered up and he lost his way, and he went hours and then eventually days out of his way, and he ended up at basically these old ruins where there were bats and mice, and he had been basically wandering the desert for a few days, and he attempted suicide by slitting his wrists to only then wake up and realize none of the blood was dripping because he was so dehydrated. And at that point, he took it as a sign that he should try to live. And so he ate fucking bats and drank bat blood. And that gave him enough nutrients and hydration to then continue on, where he eventually got picked up by a military.
Libyan
military forces. He got hooded, and he's like, am I about to die after I survived all this? And I think it was his family, his wife, they all thought he was basically dead at that point because he had been missing a week. And then eventually...
In the Sahara.
In the fucking Sahara. And then he eventually, returned. And also did the race again years later.
Yeah. But probably, the best episode is this French golfer who was, a rising star in France. and he was poised to win like one of the really big golf championships.
Because apparently French people don't win golf tournaments everywhere. Fuck the French.
Yeah, and it was like a 3-day thing, and he did really well the first 2 days, and then the third day he started making a couple mistakes.
Well, no.
Culminating on like the last hole, he like missed the first drive.
Well, the thing was he at that point he only needed a bogey to win the championship. A bogey's not hard to get if you're a professional.
Yeah, and he whiffed the drive. He also had 2 other bad shots, and on like the third or the fourth ball, it wound up in the bottom of a creek, which had 4-foot stone-lined embankments, and it's only like 3 feet wide. And they're like, yeah, he took off his shoes. He rolled up his pant legs. He got down in there, and he's like looking around like, there's absolutely nothing I can do. Like, I'm fucked here.
Yeah.
But it ends on a really positive note, because it's like, yeah, he lost that, and he never really like won like he did before that. But he then went on to teach golf to a bunch of French kids, and everyone knew his name because he was that good French golf player.
Right.
And just kind of watching him teach golf to kids and go, yeah, I'm happy with what I'm doing here, and what happened there doesn't really affect me. It's just really nice.
And the thing was that, like I said, he needed I think it was like a bogey or a double bogey to win the tournament, but he decided on his drive to go for the aggressive shot. And he said he did that because that's just how he played golf, and that's what he likes. And it didn't work out from that time, but basically the entire time he just stayed true to himself.
Yeah.
And even after his loss, he still kept being himself and kept basically loving himself. And even in the loss, that wasn't the thing that defined him. It's how he handled it and how he got there. There was one where a woman was doing the Iditarod, which is the dog sled race in Alaska, and a fucking guy tried to kill her, run her over and shit.
With the snowmobile.
Right. So that one was pretty metal. Usually it's just about losers, but that one, it was attempted murder. but right. Right, we focus on the winners, but right, how do you handle defeat and, losing? Because I think, obviously, that's a bigger test of who you are, is what do you do when it doesn't work out for you, or when you lose? When you basically can get close to the mountaintop, lose, and, you can never go back because it was so hard to even get there in the first place, keep moving. It was really fun. I wish they would make more, but I would definitely check it out. Those were some fun episodes.
Yeah. We heartily recommend it.
That's why sports. I mean, there's a lot of shit there.
There's a lot of human emotion packed into things,
and mine, I get into sabermetrics, which is the statistical analysis of baseball. It just Kirk was making a gun motion to their head. I mean, it's good for math because each at bat is a pitcher and a batter and a catcher, and those are individual events that you can really get down to the stats, you get down to the numbers, start graphing shit, get into launch angles. It's fucking crazy. I love it. And there's always some. The best is when there's some writer who's I've been working on this for 5 months, and it's a 5,000 word article they just put online for free, and here's a new number I came up to come up with how good a pitcher is. And I was like, Jesus Christ. That's so good. And they just, it's fun research that they just basically give out to the public because it's the thing they're passionate about. And, it's you want to get the articles that way your website can get clicks, but you're still giving it to the world for free to here's this model I've been constructing to try to figure out the thing that we all enjoy and look at.
That also reminds me of a John Boyce tweet where someone added him in a reply. And they're I was just wondering if John Boyce has by chance done any of the math to examine the success rate of a Hail Mary at the 40-yard line. And he's yeah, I actually did do research for that once. And at that time, at the time he did the research, he's you'd have a roughly 5 in 716 chance.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Of making it, and it's like, just you do a lot of research and you go and you find those little factoids and you're like,
oh yeah, baseball's fucking full of those. That's why you'll get like this hitter on a Tuesday night with a full moon out when he's batting number 7 and there's a left-handed pitcher on the mound, he's 3 for 5.
That sounds a lot like astrology, but for
that number is so specific and so small sample size, might as well be astrology.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Talking about things that are astrology.
We always bring it back to astrology.
Sports talk with very small sample sizes.
This is the astrology supporting
actual
podcast.
Astrology and economics.
It's all astrology, baby. Everything is astrology.
Number go up.
Number do goo. You do goo.
The real message of the Wall Street Bets GameStop thing should be that like line from Planet of the Apes where it's like ape together strong. But take that and like put it towards unionizing in your workplace, right. And
ape strong, ape apart, weak. Boss ape, he's strong.
Boss ape strong because Boss ape steals the tool. Like, we make the tools, we get the food. Boss ape takes the food. Yeah. But if we have the tools that we make, we can keep the food.
Mm-hmm. Watched Christine and Jaws the other day. That was good. Christine.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the car movie.
Right. Yes, that's one of the only good Stephen King novels that got turned into an okay movie. He famously, like, his books that turned into a movie are notoriously horrible. That one was good. About a killer car.
Yeah, famously.
Yeah.
It, The Shining.
There's a lot.
Pet Cemetery.
I don't think Pet Sematary is very...
Oh, I wouldn't know.
No, there's been a lot. Well, because he's been on cocaine every day since like 1975? He's been on cocaine a very long time, and he makes a lot of books.
Don't confuse him with Steve King.
No.
It's a point of contention.
Another great product of Iowa, one that you're very proud of, I'm sure. Steve King.
Oh, yeah.
It's from Iowa, and Kirk represents them.
Yeah. So he comes from like the part of Iowa. I don't know if
so you're racist against other Iowans.
I don't know if anyone else here plays Victoria 2, but I remember playing Victoria 2, and it splits Iowa into 4 districts, roughly resembling the modern day congressional districts. And the northeast was Yankee culture. The southeast was Yankee culture. The southwest was Yankee culture, and the northwest was Dixie culture.
So you're saying is we should split Iowa into 4, like post-war Germany? That way it can never reunify? I agree with that.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
Sometimes, like, Illinois, total garbage state. Fucking hate it. And then sometimes I look at Iowa and go, I guess it could be worse. I guess I could have it off worse.
Originally, when we started going to college, it was reversed for me. And now it's just like, I don't think of Illinois that bad. And I think of Iowa that much worse.
Like a fucking tumor, Illinois grows on you. Or grows in you. Just like...
It's gonna kill me, and then the price of my art's gonna skyrocket.
That's right, and the tumor is gonna look like Andy Dalton's face on it. They have a little red head.
And then they're gonna feature us in an episode of The Losers.
Yeah, we could already be there. Well, no, because we never did anything good in the first place to be a loser.
You see... So actually, Brent, we should be avoiding self-deprecating humor.
That's very true.
One of the good things to come out of Twitter this past week was...
That's an oxymoron. Good things out of Twitter.
Was someone posted an edit of the Virgin Chad meme, and it was like the Virgin self-deprecating humor user. and the Chad ironic self-confidence humor user. And the whole thing was like, you know, if you use self-deprecating humor, it becomes your mindset. You bring yourself down. You bring those around you down.
Because
it makes your friends like unpaid therapists.
Because it made that's no kidding. But it made it made start out as irony, and you may know it's not true. But if you say it enough, it just becomes a part of you, and then you internalize it, and then you believe it.
Yeah. But like if you start using ironic self-confidence, like I am a god and literally everything I do turns out well.
I mean, or you could just say, I have a lot of positive things. Maybe you don't have to go God.
I have way too many friends.
I
have a job that I love. But yeah, you essentially
I'm talented at things.
You start thinking about yourself in a more positive way. Even if it is ironic and overblown, you're still thinking of yourself in terms of like, I'm a good person and I deserve to live, and not, God, I suck. Everything about me is awful.
Oh, like, we watched the Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks the other day, and that was really fucking rough because it was... you know, Mr. Rogers, famously, good guy. And they hit those same points in the movie where it was a lot of, like, Mr. Rogers was talking to a little kid. And he was like, you know, their parents will always say, like, you're going to grow up to be someone really amazing. And he goes, no, like, you tell them, like, you're amazing right now. Who you are is enough. You don't need to be anything else. And just preaching that, like, you know, you as an individual have value and are worthwhile and are like, you know, you're a positive influence and you have things that are valuable. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you know, like telling yourself you're worth something, that's hard. Yeah. That's rough, especially with how things, I mean, I don't know if it's everyone, but I'd say maybe our generation or just the people in our friend group, very depressed. Very sad individual.
It's our generation.
I think, yeah. I would say, well, that is the Gen Z thing, is just saying, like millennials, they had a promise of hope, and then it was dashed away in 2008. We had nothing. We never were promised anything good, and we are not getting anything good.
It's really tough for me because I do consider myself a millennial, even though I'm like
that's because you are weird.
Absolute end.
I mean, well, do you remember anything substantial before 9/11?
Substantial, no, but I do remember 9/11.
I mean, the thing is, like, do you really? But that's not the thing. It's
yeah.
Like, did you basically live a life before 9/11, and did you really live a life before the internet? For me, it was no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, for those of you that are listening that don't know, it's a famous story I like to tell my friends.
Which one is that?
The 9/11. I remember 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
Because my mom put me down for a nap, and I woke up, and I'm like, man, I'm a little hungry. And because I'm, like, 4, almost 5... I'm like, I can go tell my mom I'm hungry, and she'll make me food. So I shuffle out of my bedroom, down the hallway, and my mom's crying. And I go,
Mom's be crying.
This is not good. This is not normal. So I sit down on the ground, and, like, she's crying to my left, and I'm looking at the TV she's looking at, and there's just images playing, and I can't make heads or tails of them. It's a building. It looks like there's smoke or something. People are talking, and I'm just
PB&J.
And I'm like, Mom, what's going on? She's like, I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, oh, something really bad has happened. And that's when I go, I'm not getting a sandwich right now. So I sit there for like a couple more minutes, and then I stand up and I go back to my room to go back to bed. Like,
that was the biggest tragedy of that day.
Yeah, not getting a sandwich when I wanted one.
9/11. I was there in New York waiting through the blood and the bones trying to find my brother.
Ankle deep.
Ankle deep. Was your brother at Ground Zero? No, he was in Toronto. 9/11.
But yeah, that's I remember 9/11. But yeah, in terms of what you were saying there, I guess I do classify as a Zoomer because I don't remember like, actual
and
9/11.
and that's my ancestors have told tales of the American dream, where supposedly the gods would smile fortune upon you and you would be blessed with lands, materials,
Congratulations
You-
for not graduating high school and leaving after 3 years.
Here's a
You
fu-
were awarded with a factory job with great pay and benefits. Here's a house that you can buy for a single year's pay. Here are a wife and kids that you will be happy with.
You want to go to college? Okay, work a part-time minimum wage job and you'll fully pay it off while you're there. Can you work 10 hours a week? You have a bachelor's degree. So supposedly that happens. So yes, internalizing horrible shit. It's not good. It's not good to keep deprecating yourself because everyone, dear listener, you have value, whoever you are.
Plus-
Even if you're Ted Bundy beyond the grave, you said some funny things at some point that had value.
Plus, your parents aren't going to understand your sense of humor anyway.
That one.
So your ironic self-deprecation is just going to be sad to them.
No, tell them about the meme you said to your mom.
There's a meme, and it's an edit of some comic, and I can't remember who did it, but it's like this figure and a car, and he's like, "Hey, little buddy, how's it going?" And then the car shows like check brakes light, check engine light, low oil light, oil change light, like all of the bad signs, and then it just like a panel of silence. And then a close-up of the guy's face, and he's like, "Yeah." And I showed that to my mom, because I thought it was very funny. It is very
funny.
relatable.
It's very funny.
And I showed it to her, and she's like, Are you saying you need a new car? And I'm like, No, I'm saying I am the car.
Oh, God.
But your parents won't understand the self-deprecating humor. Likewise, they won't understand, and they may even become offended by you saying, like, "I am literally a god. I've made no errors. I answered to nobody." But at least you're feeling better about yourself, and you're not making your parents sad too.
Like the baseline is some psychology where you can make a meme that goes, "I am the car," and that's funny to an entire age of people. Oh yeah, I identify as that car too.
I feel like you probably identify with that car if you are in our age group and you come from a family that made less than $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm lumping in a lot of high earners with that estimate.
But then
again, there are some people.
But then they're going to be fail kids because they never had to do anything or learn any skills, and all the dreams they actually wanted didn't work out. So then they're the failed children of the rich parents. So they still live in the den, but they hate their lives too, and we can take great solace in that.
Well, I mean, unless you end up like the failed child I went to elementary school with, who his parents were like, "Oh, you like being a fry cook? Here's a bar of your own to run."
God damn.
Like, they take care of the business part, and all he does is he shows up, he makes some decisions, and he cooks.
If he's legitimately working full time at the restaurant, that's tough work.
Yeah.
But I'm sure any aspiring chef would love that opportunity.
And if you do like what you do, then I'm not gonna rag on you for that. It's just like everyone should kind of be in that scenario where you get to do what you love and not have to worry about.
We talk about this every week. Fuck that. Socialism's stupid. Never gonna happen. Next topic.
Wow. Fucking hand over your red card, Brent.
I saw I hate this because now I'm the one who mostly posts on the Twitter account, so unfortunately I now am in contact with Twitter, and the top thing in my feed, which we're not even following anybody, was this post from a commie basically defending North Korea and saying some points. And it's just like, North Korea has gulags. USA, we have gulags. It's true, we have prison system. Is there a difference between a gulag and the United States prison system? I'm not going to split hairs. Am I going to defend North Korea? And it's like, wow, look at all these supposed communists touting the capitalist line. It's like, defend is also okay. This is another reason why I hate Twitter, is because I'm doing the thing that I hate, which is I'm becoming it. Dear God, fuck! I just realized that. Okay, so what I was about to do is go into the argument for why defending North Korea isn't good, but then I realized it doesn't matter. It's fake. It's people online who are never going to see each other in real life, never interact. Never going to actually have a meaningful. It's
a shocking percentage of them aren't even real people,
or something. Yeah. Something like Matt Christman said, which is it's frictionless. It's like two clouds of air just hitting each other. It's like there's something happened. There was movement, but then there was nothing. And the air just went its separate ways, and it dissipated. And that's what a Twitter conversation is. It's totally meaningless. And so, in the grand schemes of advancing socialism in America, arguing on Twitter about the merits of North Korea, pro or con, in so many words, doesn't matter in any way to anyone. And I was about to start doing it because now I'm vaguely on Twitter. Horrible website. Should get burned down. That being said, follow @2RoommatesPod.
So I do agree. I used to be on Twitter to actually get involved in shit like that, and then I got burnt out. So here are very few good things from Twitter. The occasional funny.
If Twitter was just John Boyce.
Yes.
If it was just him.
John Boyce, that car meme I found from Twitter. The barest minimum in terms of news to be considered up to date.
Adam Schaefer, Ian Rappaport. These are NFL guys. Maybe you get Tim Kurchin, Buster Oney. These are all they give me sports updates, and I go, ooh, trade, ooh, fun, hee. I clap my hands like a monkey. I'm like, hee, fun sports.
And then, and probably the last good thing from Twitter is following accounts of hot trans women who make you feel optimistic about yourself and where you're going.
Okay. Okay.
So beyond that, Twitter is a cesspool.
Okay, so hot trans women, John Boyce, and some beat writers.
And Aaron occasionally dunks on certain people,
but they don't,
and not really arguing, just posting a picture of a guillotine underneath a HuffPost article defending their laying off of an entire branch of the company because it was acquired by BuzzFeed, and then right after that branch unionized, they got all laid off a week later.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Aaron's good. You should follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, but in that reality, those people who BuzzFeed doesn't exist. Neither does the Huffington Post anymore. Get owned. Ooh.
Huffington Post exists, just in a much reduced fashion.
Yeah. So Twitter shouldn't exist. But yeah, North Korea. That's not the hill I'm going to die on. I don't know what hill I'm going to die on. Hopefully it's a cool hill.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a hill with two bros by your side, one of who in his dying moments supports you, and the other one who's like, no, I don't believe in you, Brent.
I guess the analogy.
Call a biblical reference.
Look at that. A little bit of religion. Two roommates with a pod getting diverse. Talking about God.
And then they all three died on that hill and nothing happened.
There was a man named Jesus. He was crucified. And that's the end of our story. Did we just say religion's valid? Didn't we just say that?
Yeah, I
Like
think
an
we said
episode
like
ago?
whatever you believe to
Is
help you get through like life and chaos of the universe and like
Is
feel good
perfectly-
about yourself. That's okay.
That's the ends in itself.
And then today we're like, well,
Fuck you, religion. Imagine believing in that. R/atheism. What a cesspool. That is like r/atheism. That's like r/child free. Just horrible people
look,
saying horrible things.
I can't account for what happened before Jesus. A flood that spans the earth. It might have happened.
Didn't you just say it was?
You know, coming down from the mount with 2 stone tablets inscribed with the 10 commandments of God, probably happened. I don't know, but I know one thing.
Wasn't it on? Well,
and I know Jesus died.
isn't it? Didn't we just listen to it on like? Well, there's your problem where he finally went, all right, now I'm going to make fun of Jewish people. Imagine having a religion where you fuck up so bad, God has to go, whoa, okay.
Yep.
You pump the brakes here. Okay, sending version 2.
Yeah, that's kind of a continuation of the Protestantism bonus episode, which, yes, that is an engineering disaster. That's a continuation of some of the jokes made in that episode, in which, like, they talk
That's a funny
about
bit.
how...
I mean...
Yeah,
You
because
guys-
it's like, the Jewish people believed, like, God had these rules and everything's fine. And then Catholics believe that Jesus came down and he's like, actually, the big man upstairs came out with a software update and we're gonna make people update. But some people were like, fuck you, we'll disconnect from the internet.
Right, you're going to slow down our processors, you're going to kill our battery life. We're
Yeah.
not getting the update, we know what you do.
Yeah, and then Alice was like, imagine imagine not being able to do the job so well. So God then has to contract another guy to come down and say, okay.
A new IT guy.
New update.
Bruce-
called Islam.
Spruces up the UI, has a couple of things. Don't draw him. Stop drawing. You can't.
And then they're like, and then in the 1400s, Martin Luther fucked everything up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The Catholic Church, famously, in the 14th century, a well-oiled machine. I mean, it was in a certain sense, not in a religious-y sense.
I don't know if you've watched the Protestantism, but
No.
when Alice talks about the Muslim section of the Abrahamic religions, they switch the slide, and it's just graven image forbidden.
Yeah. You know, speaking of God, gambling's fun. Talking about vices. I've only gambled ever a little bit in my life because, like I said, I'm a loser who hasn't done anything. But gambling is a lot of fun, and I think more people should do it. Specifically, I had a cute little date night with Doug one night where we wanted to go see Endgame, and we thought it was the Friday Avengers Endgame came out, and we legitimately thought this. We could just go to the movie theater at 6 for the showing at 6, and we could just get a seat and sit down. We were mistaken. And then we went through subsequently, like there was a new showing every 15 minutes at the movie theater, and it was completely booked until midnight. And then we managed to get like 2 corner seats at the midnight showing. And we're like, okay. And we booked that. And then we were like, well, we don't really, because, we drove to Iowa to go see the movie because it had a better movie theater. But like, well, we don't want to go drive all the way back, across the other side of the river. So let's just, hang out. So then, we went bowling. We ended up got some donuts, and then we went to the casino because there was always there was a casino near the campus where we went to school, but we had never been there. So we were like, well, it'd be a good time as any. So then I played blackjack for the first time, and I was there for probably about 15 minutes, and I lost all my money. Naturally, it was only like $20. I think I did okay. I mean, losing only $20, I'll call that a victory. And after I got up from the table, I remember looking at Doug and saying, I have to get out of here. Because I was like, at one point, I was up like $20, and I was feeling the endorphins. They were rushing. And I was like, this is hitting a nerve I didn't realize I had. I think this is what they this is what they warn about, so I had to leave.
I'm gonna try avoiding naming the county and the city that we're talking about
I
here.
mean, I just said we crossed from Iowa to Illinois. But
from Illinois to Iowa, yeah. But it's fine. Riverboat Casino.
Which riverboat? There's a million
but
riverboat
yeah,
casinos.
so the reason why casinos in this city are such a big deal is because from the very beginning, this county had a very high German American population.
Unfortunate.
And back in the 19th century, Iowa was hey, we're going prohibitionist as a state before prohibitions even on the national consensus. And the county just goes, yeah, no, fuck that shit. And the state's no, you have to enforce it. And the county's no, we don't. And the city specifically is no, we don't. And then the county itself goes, hey, we are the free state of insert county. And here, saloons, yeah. 1874, saloons stay open, and the guy that was elected to the position of sheriff was a German American who's yeah, I was elected sheriff, I'm not going to enforce the prohibition law.
And everyone cheered.
And everyone cheered. And in this specific city, in this county, in the state of Iowa, has just done that for so long that now we have an issue where the state is possibly maybe considering limiting casinos. And the city's hey, we currently have 4, I think, and we might add more. Who knows? The county and the city will do tax breaks. We don't care. It brings money in.
Fuck Iowa. Fuck you.
Yeah.
We have a proud tradition of telling you to go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
I didn't
Luckily,
realize the
that's
state
not gonna
of
happen.
Jefferson was in Iowa.
Yeah. Luckily, that's not going to happen anytime soon because
It can be
Iowa
so much
is pretty solidly Republican due to donations from,
Yeah, but there's so much goddamn money in casinos. Are you kidding me? The age of banning businesses because it ruffles whatever fake moral sensibilities we used to have, that's over. Casinos make a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
That's never going away. Illinois just got casinos, baby. Gonna be sweet. I'm gonna go. There's been slot machines in Illinois forever, but that doesn't do it for me. It's like pressing the button and watching it. It doesn't get my juice. It doesn't get the gambling flowing. So I gotta wait for the tables. And then I'll win. Don't worry, Kirk. I have a system. I watched some videos to figure out how craps work because I heard it's a lot of fun, and I remember taking a math class, and we did determine that it does give you the best statistical odds in a casino. Your odds are still only 48.5% chance to win, but it's one of the better ones. And I think slot machines are the worst. And then blackjack is at 48%. Funny enough, everything in a casino in the long run causes you to lose. That's a weird glitch. I wonder when they'll patch that. Do you think in the next Protestant Reformation they'll make casinos give out money? And that's
no, you've got to work for it.
Right.
Protestant work ethic, baby.
Well, I don't have any idle hands. I'm playing slots. I'm telling him to double down. I'm running back and forth on the floor. I'm betting on horses. I got money on the Super Bowl. Steph Curry's going to hit 3 more threes in a row. I'm doing work.
Okay, so Brent and I have been talking about this all week, and it's on my list here. And I don't know how much time we have, but that's okay. We're going to skip over a Star Trek discussion this week, and we're going to talk about this. Smart tech and points of failure.
Oh, God.
I work for a coffee maker company. I am in a call center for a coffee maker company. It's a long-standing company who has made fairly standard, set it on the stove, made of metal coffee makers where you heat up the water with the coffee grounds, you pour it
It
good
works.
old, it
For
works.
basically
tried and true, trusted, in use since like the 1800s.
By, like, for over 100 years,
Yeah.
you make a piece of metal because it has a lot of heat, it takes a lot of strain, but it's been doing the job. It does the thing it's supposed to do.
And at some point, the coffee maker company
Goes,
acquired a brand which is like a thermometer that measures the temperature of your coffee. Right, and the company that made that, Prime Brewing.
This metaphor or this?
Yeah, it's fine. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
I want to rant. But Prime Brewing developed this thermometer, and you hook up to it with your phone, and while the coffee is brewing, you can like be in the next room and go, oh hey, the coffee's reaching temperature, and the coffee's done. And then you go
or
and
adjust it to the exact temperature you want, the length. Theoretically.
that comes later.
Okay.
But yeah, you receive updates remotely. And, this coffee maker company acquired it. And eventually we were like, what if we incorporated this technology on a coffee maker? Now, normally, that's not fine. There are a lot of coffee makers, like yours, for example, which you set a timer, and all it does is it go, and it goes, if we have coffee grounds and we have water at 7 a.m., we brew coffee. That's what the coffee maker does. The number of points of failure are very few, because it's like a failure of a part of the coffee maker. It's a failure of that clock. Or it's a failure of a sensor to detect if there's coffee grounds or water. Right? Very few points of failure. But this coffee maker company is like, what if we made a coffee maker that is all technology?
This is the Icarus of coffee makers.
This is the ideal coffee maker. You want to know these prime features of the coffee maker? You set it up to make coffee, much like that one. You put the coffee grounds in, you put the water in, you set the timer at 7 a.m., and then you hook it up with your phone, and you'll receive a notification on your phone when the coffee's made, right? So you go to bed. You go to bed, and then you wake up.
I'm asleep?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go to bed, you wake up, you press a button on your watch, it starts the process on the coffee maker. You go back to sleep. You wake up because your watch just notified you the coffee's done. So you get up, you go out, you drink coffee. That's great. How many points of failure are there? Well, you have a complicated piece of software that has to not only receive the information from the sensors for the coffee and the water, but also it adjusts the brew time based on the coffee grounds you have. So if that fails, then I don't know. I'm just rolling with it.
Yeah.
But if it disconnects from your smartwatch when you wake up in the morning and you press the button, it's not going to make coffee. So you better hope the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth connection doesn't fail. You better hope when you wake up your watch doesn't run out of battery. You better hope that the coffee maker just decides not to receive the signal.
The coffee maker has software. The app on your phone has software. They both have to work together.
Yes. And the thing is, like a smartphone or a laptop or even the fancy TV we have, they all have software now. That's fine. But do you want to know how refined a cell phone is or how refined a laptop is, as opposed to the coffee maker, which has a single research and development team of 8 people probably to address any issue with the coffee maker whatsoever?
You know how many people work on a Windows update to make that happen? Fucking lot of people.
Yeah. And now I'm receiving a bunch of phone calls from people who are like, yeah, I just bought your coffee maker, and I was lucky enough to get the coffee maker with the revised parts from that you changed after making the initial run of the coffee maker.
Christ.
But the coffee maker leaked water all over the internal components, and then my kitchen caught fire.
That
and it's
happened?
Stuff like that, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Stuff like that. And it's oh my fucking God. I understand the novelty of the product, and I understand the naivete. But I would never buy a piece of, like, I would never buy a coffee maker. I would never buy, like, a vase or, like, a fucking inventory system for, like, a kitchen or whatever. A stove in the kitchen that uses, like, smart software to adjust cooking times. Like, I would never do that because it's not going to work. And when you just go, well, isn't there a way where I can manually do it? No, there isn't, because you bought the one where this is for all of your convenience. Everything is automated. You can't just press...
But when it's automated.
Yeah, you can't just, like, say, I'm tired of, like, pressing a button. The software in the thing doesn't notice when I press a button to start the coffee. If there was just a way I could, like, physically engage the water heat up and pour through the coffee grounds to make coffee, I would, but you can't do that. You can't do that because it's the piece of software on the circuit board that got drenched with water. Congratulations, you made a stupid decision.
And that's like this. It's almost a beautiful example. So the smart technology, the idea that everything would be bigger and better with software to make your life easier. But the thing you pointed out with, like, laptops, it is a very complex piece of machinery, but it has, like, a history of it. Like, there has been, like, laptops and like generations of, like, research, development, hundreds of people working on individual products to build upon their work. Uncalculable number of bugs they have received that then they have patched to then learn what things work, what things don't. And there is, like, a large history of it, which is why, generally speaking, your laptop works.
And because some big tech guy back in the, like, 1990s forced, like, independent software developing, like, under the bridge and said Microsoft, no Linux, no Unix, Microsoft.
But then the difference being, so then key difference with your coffee maker, for example, this is brand new. We're just pulling this out of our ass. We're going to develop this on a piece of hardware we just made, and we're going to make a piece of software for this thing we just made, and we don't have the hours of testing it, we don't have the prior knowledge, we don't have any experience. So then, something goes wrong, and then you build a new piece of hardware for it, but then you have to get a new piece of software for it, but then it has, like, all these, like you said, like, the updated piece of hardware. Then you need this software, which, like you said, it's going to be like 8 people working on this. These poor fucks are going to have to field so many fucking tickets for so many different products, and they're going to need to work it. They're going to need each piece of software to work on so many different devices, which I'm sure is a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
And then on top of just all of that, the actual device itself, like a laptop, it's a laptop. But like a coffee maker, there is heat. There is mechanics. There is water. There are forces of fucking nature, legitimately, that make it not want to work.
You better hope it's not plugged in when you receive a power surge, because it could wipe.
Like, the entropy of the universe does not want things to work. That is its natural course. So when you introduce heat and water, or outside conditions, if you have an outside coffee maker, like, when you do that, it corrodes things. So you could have a piece of software that breaks, or your hardware breaks, or something deteriorates, and then you don't have a manual mechanism backup to allow it. So then it's just a brick that sits on your counter. You get people
calling, and they're like, I've replaced every single individual part of this coffee maker, short of, like, the shell that it sits in and the pot that collects the coffee. And it doesn't work. It still doesn't work. And it's like, I don't know what to do. And
it's like, and the answer is, you shouldn't have bought that coffee maker.
Yeah.
Because we, as humans, we've had coffee makers for hundreds of years. And it's simple. It's a piece of metal, and it holds water, and it is able to withstand heat. And that's just all it does. But now you thought you can get 8 people to do innovative Bluetooth technology because you think that sounds good in marketing.
And you hook it up to Wi-Fi too.
And you just, and you create, you instead of just being a thing that holds heat, it now has an infinitesimal amount of possible failures. And because if all of them don't work, you don't get your coffee in the morning, and then you call Kirk and yell at them.
Yep. Yeah,
and ask them why the coffee maker doesn't work.
And the thing is, we as humans in every other endeavor have acknowledged the more points of failure there are, the more likely it is a bad idea. Look, you wouldn't develop an automated car. Why develop an automated coffee maker?
Literally, I would have more faith in the automated car because you have more engineers trying to research this instead of it's just a coffee maker. Because at the end of the day, I mean, what are you going to do? It's an $80 device, and most of the time it'll probably work. And maybe it fails in 4 years. Is it out of warranty? Oh, you bet. So does that company have any consequences? No. Or you could have just bought your metal coffee maker that your grandmother owned for 80 fucking years that still works to this day.
And yeah, it's not convenient. You have to wake up 15 minutes earlier to fill it with water, to put it on the stove, to get it started. But
does it make coffee?
Works.
It does. Does this piece of shit thing you bought 2 years ago that costs $130 that has a smiley face and says, you make coffee so good, does that work? No. So you mentioned when people call and they want advice on what do you think of this new Bluetooth coffee maker, and you can't tell them, don't buy it.
Yeah, I can't tell them don't buy the coffee maker because the phone calls are recorded. The phone calls might be listened to. If I tell them not to, they're probably going to go, that doesn't seem right, and leave a review saying, the agent told me not to buy it. And then I'm out of a job.
Right. I am incentivized to tell you to buy this punk of shit. I can't even say, how about you just buy one of our other fine products that don't have Bluetooth, please?
Yeah. I'm not incentivized to because I don't believe in the worth of this particular product. And it's not like I make commission.
Right.
I am coerced into doing it by virtue of if I say, just buy a regular coffee maker.
Holy shit.
Buy a Mr. Coffee with a timer. It will outlast this.
I think this podcast is uniquely qualified and legitimately to talk on new home appliance tech and its merits, and can definitively tell you either from the customer support stand of it or the software side of it, do not fucking buy it. It's a horrible mistake. The coffee maker has existed for hundreds of years because it works.
Yeah. This
new piece of shit is a piece of garbage.
Yeah. And that's how come I was a little disappointed to receive the remote picture frame for Christmas. Although it does... I do like it.
I mean,
like it. I like seeing pictures of my niece and nephew. They're very adorable. I like seeing pictures of the puppies. If my family listens to this, I appreciate your gift. But inherently, I first unwrapped it and I'm like, I just wanted a normal picture frame. Because a normal picture frame with Polaroid pictures of my family in it will last for decades.
The screen will go dark. It'll stop working. Maybe it'll frizzle out. Why does it have a listening device? Who's listening to me? And the NSA going, but the thing is, it might last a while. And that's also because it's not boiling water every day inside of it next to your hardware. Because that's the thing. It's like the IRA says, you have to be lucky every day. We only have to be lucky once. That water drip, it only has to get lucky once. And then you're out of a picture frame and your family hates you.
My goodness. I thought of this.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was like, coffee
We should
maker.
open this at the top of the show. That would have been way better.
Yeah, no, you really wanted to talk about sports, and I really wanted to get that John Boyce tweet out of the way.
I know, goddamn.
It's burning a hole in my pocket.
I know, but oh god, yeah, that Bluetooth, and on top of, not only we were just describing the ways it doesn't work, also it's tracking your information. What are you using it? When are you using it? They are selling it to Google, or they're selling it to advertisers, who are then able to figure out your personal habits and market to you effectively.
So I actually believe the company when they're saying that they only Google requires any Android phone attempting to use Bluetooth to share location. And they say it's because, Bluetooth is like a proximity thing, so technically if you have Bluetooth on, it's like monitoring location data. And it's like, okay, Google,
No.
okay. But like the company itself is like, we would prefer not to. We would just have like analytics for determining
then
when
how
the
about
app
you just don't
crashes.
have to trust the altruism of a private, profit-oriented company to use your data in a sensible and moral and ethical way. How about that? Yes, the company that solely exists to squeeze every penny out of every orifice. Yeah, you can trust it with, how many times you brew a coffee a day or what kind. Is it dark roast, medium roast, light roast? What kind? Like, do full body, light body? How much creamer are you using? How much creamer do you use, you son of a bitch?
Yeah, it's like, and we do see even coffee makers are growing toward this. Of course they are. Of course they are. I work at a coffee maker company.
Okay, are we still talking
but
about
not
actual...
Keurig. I don't work for Keurig, but Keurig also exemplifies this.
I was like, are we talking about actual coffee or the place you work at?
No, I work at a coffee maker
That's
company,
right.
famously. Not
Yes.
Keurig, but Keurig does have
Adjacent.
coffee makers that are very similar to the coffee maker I described.
Yes.
I hope when I get big, I hope when this podcast gets big,
Oh, yeah, big time.
someone goes like, I hate your politics, and I heard he works at Keurig.
I got
So they email Keurig, and they're like, I don't know if you know, but Kirk needs to be fired for being like a borderline socialist. And
Kirk's
Keurig
been
would
working
be like,
here for 40 years. How could they? It's a different Kirk that gets canned. You just condemned every Kirk at Keurig.
some poor software engineer from
You should not work.
Sweden.
You should not work at Keurig. That's too many Ks.
Yeah.
You're getting into dangerous territory. All right.
Yeah, I assumed
we're
that
at
would
leg.
get us to the end.
Oh, that was a fine trip home. That we sailed nicely into the end of this one. That was good.
It was very good.
All right.
Star Trek discussion next week.
I'm sure it will rear its ugly head once again. We're nearing the end of season 7. Season 7 doing a lot better than I thought it would. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
The Prime Directive episode
It's
with
good.
the Don from Goodfellas.
We just talked about Star Trek. That counts. That counts.
Okay.
Damn it.
We might talk about that episode
We
specifically.
cannot avoid it. All right. Follow us at ToonRatesPod, where I may or may not get involved in Twitter discussions and then immediately hate myself for acknowledging it. Subscribe to the Patreon, I guess.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
You've never plugged your Twitter.
Yeah, fine. My Twitter account is at @some_leftist. So at some leftist. And I will mostly just like things, but occasionally I will tweet what I think is fairly funny.
So if you want free likes and retweets, follow Kirk, because I'm sure they will give you likes. We won't, but Kirk might.
If you're like a close friend, or if it is funny.
Try to be funny.
All right, adios.
Bye, everyone. Ooh, audio. Ooh, canceled.
Auf Wiedersehen.